Welcome to the Missouri Valley Conference Game of the Week preview show presented by Mercy, the official orthopedics and sports medicine provider of the Missouri Valley Conference. With Coach Ben Jacobson, I'm Harry Schroeder, and Wednesday night at 6 p.m. on your local Gray Media station on Matrix Midwest here in St. Louis, the Northern Iowa Panthers will be battling the UIC Flames. And Coach, appreciate your time today. Difficult loss yesterday, and you have to turn right around and get back into the wars this week. How do you help the guys take a step forward?
Yeah, that challenge. You'd like to be able to give you an easy answer, Harry, and say, hey, just get on to the next one, right? I mean, that's the thing, but it's going to be a challenge. Now our guys understand, how good UIC is. We haven't seen them since early December, but our guys follow the scores. They watch the games, bits and pieces, and I follow it closer than our guys do. And we're talking about games that aren't upcoming for us. So I've been tracking UIC and obviously watched their game against Drake, and Drake got off to the great start. But after that 21-0, UIC played the way they've been playing a lot. So and then they came right back and got a win. So on that front, it won't be hard to get our guys' attention because we know we're playing another good team and good players, and I find myself saying this a lot. The coaching is really good, right? And they've done a great job with their team. So that part won't be the challenge. Yesterday was a heck of a game, and it was both teams played really hard and made a lot of big plays, and when you come up on the short end of one like that, when it's that close, right? When there's about 9 seconds left, when Sturt shoots a three, and we get a defensive rebound there, and there's a pretty good chance we get out of there. And if we don't foul the shooter, on the last one, they don't have a chance to tie it, and the game's over while the ball's in the air. So you're that close. Tied for first, right? That's one of the goals, right? Is to be in the hunt, and we've been in the hunt for now. So yeah, it'll be a challenge, right? But I've told you before, I like this group a lot, and we got the right guys leading the way, so we'll be all right.
Got the guys in the ice bath today. I mean, like, that was a physical stinking basketball game yesterday too. I mean, bodies were flying all day long, and harder to recover from that kind of a game than maybe a more freewheeling game.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, and then this late in the year, you got some of the guys with heavier minutes like Titan, and in particular with us, Titan and Trey. Probably Ben's minutes have gone up quite a bit here in the last 3 or 4 games. But Titan and Trey have been probably the ones that have taken the most wear and tear. So yeah, we'll be smart about what we do today, right? And tomorrow we're gonna do kind of normal. Day before we got to get a good workout in. Be sharp. Don't have to go for very long, but got to be sharp and go at it a little bit tomorrow, and make sure we're as ready as we can be.
I want to talk about UIC in a minute, but your crowd was electric yesterday. Maybe, I haven't had the privilege of being at McLeod Center, but watching tons of your games over the years, that was as loud and as engaged as I've seen your crowd on TV anyway.
Yeah, that the last one would have been Loyola here at home when we beat them for the regular season championship. Very similar. I was walking across today from the weight room this morning with RJ, and he asked me about that. He had heard about that Loyola one, and he said, "Now, which one was louder?" And he's like, "Coach, man, yesterday was crazy." And I said, I think Loyola was louder longer, but I don't think it was any louder than the game yesterday was during that last 3 or 4 minutes. And when Trey made that three, like, I don't think that it was any louder in a single moment. It was maybe louder for longer, just the way it happened to play out. But yeah, it was man, it was a fun one. Those are fun to be a part of.
First time against UIC very early in the season. Might have been the first game of the year. I can't remember the conference game, but a long time ago. You beat them pretty easily. Their lineup has changed dramatically since then. What do you take from that game, if anything?
Other than some personnel things, Harry, I think that's probably about it. Like, we're of course going to watch it and go through it, and but it was that early part of December. So that's as you just said, That's a long time ago. And both our teams are much different, right now. And lineups for both our teams are different, who we've got
Mm.
available and who we don't, and some adjustments that we made to the starting lineups and this and that. So it'll be more about the last 3 or 4 games. We kind of do last 3 games and really dig into that. And then, of course, go back and look at some other ones, try to pick out a couple things. But it's more about the last 3 games. And like I said early on, they put together, and I said it the first time we played them. I thought that Robin and staff did a great job of putting together a really good ball club. They got a talented group of guys, and they're playing well together, and they have for a while now. And guys that can make plays. But I just, you see the teamwork and what they're doing here. Um, so yeah, it'll be more about what's happened in the last 2, 3 weeks.
Offensive rebounds hurt you Sunday,
Yeah.
and they're a terrific rebounding and offensive rebounding team. How do you go about shoring that up this week?
Yeah, we need to, and it's just looking at the numbers this morning our last up until yesterday, Harry. We had I think 4 out of 5 where we were up in our defensive rebounding percentage was above 80%, 80 or above, and that's a winning number. You can
Mm.
you can win with that number, and we did yesterday. It was 60%. And as we saw, you can't, you might win with that number, but you're taking some chances. And look, this group's been great about zeroing in on the things that it takes to be successful. And so I won't need to remind them much that's going to be a key for Wednesday.
You and I have talked about Ben a couple of times, but there was a moment there, maybe 2, 3 minutes in that second half, when all of a sudden he was the best player on the floor for either team. When he asserted himself and was tremendously successful. A little bit later, a shot went off a little bit, but I mean, for a couple of minutes, he really illustrated he can be one of those dominant kind of players.
Yeah, and he was coming off of 2 good ball games with Murray and Belmont. He played all 80 minutes in the Murray Belmont swing that we just had. And in one of them, I know he had double with 17 points and 10 rebounds, and I think he had 5 or 6 assists in that one as
Mm.
well. And he had a really assertive, aggressive game in the other one. So he's coming off of um, 2 of his, I would say, most well-rounded games, and maybe the most consistent he's been over the course of 80 minutes. Okay? And didn't have quite the start that I think he was probably expecting. But man, that middle of the second half, if it was the middle, it was around
Mm.
there. When he got loose and made some plays, and I really like the play on the baseline. From the top, getting loose and got to the dunk is obviously a big play, but the one on the baseline where he had the ISO on the post and backed in, a really physical play both ways, offense, defense, and he stayed with it, finished through the physicality and got that basket. I thought that was a key basket, and for me would have been not any less impressive, right? But felt like that is the kind of basket you can win with, and Ben's been doing that for us.
Put his shoulder on the guy, got the space. It was a thing of beauty, really. Uh, it's the final week of the season. I don't know if you guys do anything different. Obviously, Wednesday could be like a senior night kind of a thing for you guys. That kind of thing. I think you did something Sunday,
Yeah.
but do you do anything different during the final week of the season? Number one, and then number two, what will it be like to finally shake Titan's hand for the last time in terms of being a guy in the uniform and your other guys that might be moving on as well?
Yeah, and we did our senior day yesterday. We did it after the game was over, and um, we had 3 student managers that are in there last year with us. So each of them and their parents were introduced and came out, and then of course Kale, Huddy, and Ty, and yeah, and that's an emotional one for me, and for our program. When those guys come walking out, and Ty just, it's been 5 years, and so that one hits you a little bit harder. So I think I've chosen not to think about it now, Harry. I, I,
Good
I had
move.
I had to yesterday because we had our senior day, and loved what Kale and Huddy and Ty are doing, and Ty coming out there, and so I've made the decision. I'm not going to think about it here for a little bit.
Appreciate your time this week, Jake. We'll see you when you get to St. Louis.
Okay, thanks, Harry.
Our Wednesday night coverage begins at 6 p.m. Central. For information on where you can catch the games, head to mvc-sports.com. For the Missouri Valley Conference, I'm Harry Schroeder.